Your Life and Sex Island, Chapter 6, The Life and Sex Island, page 181. We are continuing a little fairy tale here. We are looking at a little island like Defoe's Robinson Crusoe, only with a few more people, or Golding's Lord of the Flies, only a lot more civilized. At first, anyway. This is our Life and Sex Island. We've got 2 or 3 dozen little families living together peacefully here. They are each multi-talented, but still they have become somewhat specialized. So one family digs wild potatoes, another catches crabs, Joe's kids dig clams, someone else spears mahi-mahi. They call that fish hahuna. There's Mike the coconut man and so on. Don't forget taro. Everybody loves poi. The island's bounty seems sustainable. Nothing is being overharvested, and so it does not appear that they will go the way of Easter Island anytime soon. The population increases by 1 or 2 every decade or so. They have their own means of discouraging large families that are too embarrassing to talk about. Let's just say that their methods work. It was a very nice and peaceful tropical island, this Life and Sex Island. They had never discovered or invented fire, which was just as well because there was very little to burn. So they ate the fish sushi style with the raw coconut, and this too was just as well because they were very healthy. They slept in the open because there were no mosquitoes and no crime and no cold and, curiously, no rain. Only a heavy mist every night that watered all of the plants perfectly. In the middle of the island was a very tall, extinct volcano with a snow-covered caldera. The sides of the volcano were so steep that no one had ever attempted to climb it. The snow on top of the volcano melted and ran into the caldera, where it ran down a cave that had been formed by the lava. That water from the melted snow, fortunately, bubbled up through the sand in one spot very near the beach. Free spring water. Pay attention, there may be a test. Without fire and clay, they had never discovered or invented pottery. There was no clay on the island anyway, only sandy soil of degraded lava. Fortunately, plants eat air for solids and sunlight for energy to make themselves. The islanders carried their water in clam and coconut shells, not much at a time and no storage either. But they had learned to weave baskets and bras from grasses, roots, rushes, bark, leaves, and fish skins. The girls all wore bras because they wanted their breasts to look attractive as anyone else's. The bras formed them all into desirable firm shapes, but they didn't wear anything down below. That's part of the secret of their birth control. When you can see what you are looking at, it don't look so good at first blush. It doesn't go down well with sushi. The people only had a few needs beyond food, water, and sex. They needed a few tools for digging, spearing, and weaving. They only had one real conceit. They all desperately wanted the tail feathers from the malarkey bird to admire and to decorate themselves with. Wondrous feathers they were, too. In the dark, they glowed bright yellow. In the sun, they glistened with all the colors of the visible light spectrum. The poor devils had never seen a rainbow, and so did not know about the pot of gold at the end thereof. In addition to the malarkey feathers, boats were a desperate need. Everyone wanted a boat, even if they didn't fish. It was one of the few ways to get away from it all. All of the trees on the island were of the palm type, the wood of which was not very suitable for boat building. Some not very successful boats were made from rushes and bamboo, but the very best boats were laboriously carved from the mother rock, which was all light and foamy lava like strong, heavy styrofoam. Yeah, they didn't know what that was either. Those lava boats were good boats compared to the woven rushes or bamboo, but very expensive. One had to gather a lot of coconuts or spend a lot of time learning know-how and the making of one. The barter system that they used sometimes caused problems. It was 2.5 clams for 1 coconut, 1 mahi-mahi for 4 3/4 large potatoes, all kinds of different amounts for other things. So if they didn't have exactly the right things to trade, they had to memorize all the things that they owed or were owed. They tried writing in the sand on the beach, but the damn tide washed away all of their records. Sometimes clams were hard to find, and Joe wanted slightly more of what you had for each clam. Bartering and record keeping were becoming arduous, troubling, and troublesome. A couple fights actually broke out. They needed a change. To be continued. You may purchase this book by clicking on the link in the description below. I shall return.